Hey everyone, welcome back. We're going to be watching episodes 11 and 12 of the Apothecary Diaries. We were left with a bunch of clues on who possibly was sending signals to our enemies, and that may be the lady-in-waiting that works for Lady Ah-Duo, Fengming. So as far as I can see, it's either all on Fengming or there are things about Lady Ah-Duo that we don't know yet, because really we only have a bit of a surface level understanding of her. We've only been really just introduced to her, so we don't know too much about what she desires or what kind of person she really is. But hopefully this next episode we'll go ahead and shine some light on that. But before we do, guys, feel free to check out my YouTube memberships. They're at only $1 and you get early access to episodes like these and also the full reactions as well.
フォンミン様にお話ししたいことがあります。わかったわ。
So we're gonna confront her directly, maybe get some answers out of her. But what did we show her?
アードー妃はこの宮を去らねばならない。アードー妃はもう子を産めないのですね。
So she's already on her way out.
皇后と天秤にかけた結果、アードー妃の出産は後回しにされた。
Did something go wrong because of this?
アードー妃が子宮を失ったのは。その後、アードー妃のもとに生まれた子は幼くして亡くなってしまった。
Oh man, that's pretty rough.
毒を含まないただの蜂蜜が需要にいいと与えていた薬が赤子にとって毒になること。
Oh.
当時医官だった私の父ルオメンは出産時の処置も含め度重なる失態により高級を追放されました。
So people just kept poisoning themselves with makeup and
アードー妃にそれを聞かせないためにリーシュ妃をザクロ宮から追い返すようになった。
so she got way too close to figuring out.
子を産めないアードー妃の立場を守るため、そして蜂蜜の件を隠すために、あなたはリーシュ妃のスープに毒を入れた。
Wow, that was so there's so many details going on there. That may not be a very safe spot to be right now.
親の言うことを聞き、言われるがままに次女になった私と比べてどれほど衝撃を受けたことか。
So for the most part, Lady Ah-Duo is pretty much clear.
アードー様が毎夜泣き明かしていること、私は知っていたのに。
Man, this is rough.
この16年間、どのような思いで仕えていたのだろう。
Yeah, just one really unfortunate thing happening.
2つあった動機を1つにすることだけです。結果は変わりません。それでもよろしければ受け入れてください。
Yeah, what do you do? Because she does seem like a good person, but she did hide those things.
甘いな。
毒ですけどね。
I was about to say, I was like, did we just determine that was poison? Something still feels unresolved.
処刑は終わった。
Oof.
明日にはアードー妃が高級を去るという。
Wow, so they already got rid of Fengming.
一杯付き合わないか。お情けで飾りの妃をやっていただけ。早く誰かに受け渡したかった。
So maybe this is what's best for her, since she doesn't really want this role.
そうですね。
You're wasting good booze.
アードー妃の意志にかかわらず、彼女のために命を懸ける者たちがいる。
Interesting.
戻ってきたと思ったら、すっきりしたから帰れと追い出された。
このお方をそんな風に扱える人間が。
Lady Ah-Duo got him all drunk too.
人士様。
What's he holding on to? Not literally, but
二人とも二日酔いの心配はなさそうだな。アードー妃は高級を出るため、祝妃の証である冠を返す。
Ah-Duo seems to be generally really well liked. Obviously, her ladies in waiting would do anything for her.
誰かに似ていると思ったが、人士様のことだったようだ。あの二人、服装を入れ替えた方がよっぽど。
I was I mentioned that episodes ago. I thought they both looked really alike, but it's interesting that they pointed it out.
二人がもし取り替えられていたとしたら、皇帝の弟が今微妙な立場にあることも。
Whoa.
孤独な妃に信頼のできる次女がいるということ。それはどれほどの救いになるだろうか。
Yeah, that's really nice for Li Shu. That's interesting, the story that Maomao just proposed, because they kind of frame it as if it's true, but it's also speculation.
フォンミンの一族と関係者の名簿です。
さらわれて売り飛ばされたと聞いていたが。
You know, midway through that, I was thinking, I was like, I'm glad they're not resolving this in a super complicated way, but they did still find a couple ways to involve a lot of detail into how we arrived to this point. And while the resolution itself was simple, just obviously the details leading up to it were very vast. While I did make an observation before that it was interesting that they do leave things unresolved, with the later episodes I thought that they would then resolve those situations, but they still kind of didn't. They may have resolved some things, but they still left some things open. Maybe now we're gonna just leave it at that. That was a really clever way to be able to have us sympathize with Fengming. Basically, she is a good person, but when she had an unfortunate situation happen with her, she was then really tested on whether or not she would do the right thing, and I think ultimately she failed at that. A couple moments where I got a little emotional there, and it got really dramatic when it started to reveal like the motives and what happened in the past and what happened with the baby and everything. But let's go ahead and move on to the next one. I'm still thinking about some parts of that last episode, like Jinshi crying. Was he also crying because Lady Ah-Duo was leaving? Because like everybody seemed to be like really emotional about her leaving. Was Jinshi also emotional about that as well? I may have missed that.
二人の間の亀裂がこれ以上開くのがとても恐ろしい。
都合の良い駒ではなかったのですか。
Well, of course they're growing closer.
前に確認したとき、私の書類上の実家は交易を行っている商家になっていた。
I feel a little lost on what's going on here.
今度の大量解雇のことだろ。
はい。私はどうなるのでしょうか。つまり解雇というわけですね。
Okay, I think I'm getting a better grip of what's going on.
解雇しないでくださいなんて言える立場ではない。こびる目をしないようにしなければ。
So she wants to stay, but she doesn't really want to admit that she loves the life that she currently has now, even though she was kind of kidnapped and thrown into this. And maybe Jinshi's thinking of sending her back to her regular life?
交渉失敗。マオマオ解雇。
She just goes back home, right? Like if she's let go, like...
いつまでそうしているつもりですか。
And of course he read the situation wrong.
解雇通知の翌週、シャオマオは花町へ帰っていった。
That's what I was afraid of. Like I thought if she was gonna get let go, that meant other things. Like she would get sent somewhere maybe she didn't want to be. But if we're just letting her go.
いや、あの娘をおもちゃと一緒にしてはいけないのかもしれない。
Because obviously I think Jinshi would have wanted her to stay, but he was also thinking about what Maomao would want and would think that he would rather just set her free. But Maomao wanted to stay. Okay, I think I got a grip on this.
時間だよ、早くしな。あ？おや、少し甘しになったじゃないか。
I do like that since the last time she was made up, she now currently has like a different look. I like that there are variations to whenever they give her a makeover.
こちらのお部屋でございます。
Oh, there's Jinshi. You can see him at the corner. You could definitely tell in the certain moments in this show when they showcase the music and really give it the stage front and center, no pun intended, but there's an obvious emphasis on it during certain moments.
アルバイト中です。
ギローデか。
そうです。
もしかしてお前。
このお方はどうにも人の低層を疑う性格らしい。
あそこが嫌で辞めたんじゃなかったのか。
はあ？そんなこといつ言いました？ 続けたいと打診したのに解雇したのはそちらでしょう。
Good. At least they're talking this out.
だからなんで逃げる？
規則ですから。
少しくらいいいだろ？
ダメです。
エルマンじゃないだろ。
指先だけですよ。
あら、いつの間にマオマオったら
They're all watching him.
姉ちゃん、ゴーシュン様。もう何が何やら困った。
Yeah, everybody's rooting for them.
よく覚えていない。
あれ誰なんだ？どういう関係？もうやるじゃないの。
ただ、とにかく姉ちゃんたちの追求がしつこかったのはよく覚えている。
Yeah, maybe separating them for a little bit will kind of be good for them. Maybe it might make them realize that they want to be around each other without them really thinking that.
戻るのかい呼吸に。
わかんない。でも、高級も花町も大して変わらないのかも。
She obviously will thrive more in the rear palace. I do love that we actually are going through time here, like the changes in seasons. Like some shows kind of have no concept of time; they just kind of happen in one period, and there doesn't seem to be any focal point or any change in that. I think in a show like this, it's really nice to see the time change. It kind of gives like a different feel in the setting. Nice little montage of the season thus far. I mean, we are on episode 12. We are directly in the middle of the season. Just go back to the palace. Even though she kept saying that the rear palace and the brothel are like the same thing. These are all just examples of what's not there.
やり手ババアも目がくらむ金スト。それとなぜか虫から生えた奇妙な草を持ったその男は一人の娘を所望した。
So he bought her out. Good for you, Jinshi. Because sometimes when it comes to Maomao, Jinshi kind of misses the mark in terms of like what she's thinking, what she wants, what he thinks she wants. But he seemed to have nailed it right there. So good for him. However, I always have to be skeptical about what could be good things or what could be bad things. So obviously we want her to return to the palace, but he has to buy her out. What are the negative aspects of being bought out like that? Are there aspects that are negative? Does she have to now answer to people she doesn't want to answer to or didn't have to before? I don't know. We have a whole other half of the season to go. Maybe this is like a turning point. Like she said, she's like, what happens from now on? This could be a turning point in the story where things can get really serious. Like we might be entering phase 2. You know, this could be the boss's second form, if you will. Pretty relaxed episode. I think it just kind of took its time to just let us live in the world of the Apothecary Diaries and just kind of vibe off of the atmosphere and give us some reminders of some montages of what happened in the season and why we like the show and all that. Like I said earlier, I think she thrives better in the rear palace because not that she wasn't messing with medicine at the brothel, I think she was able to mess with it more over at the palace because she has more access to things over there. Not only that, but there's also these political situations or power dynamics that she has to deal with that could also help exercise her mind and keep her interested and engaged. So I think she also, even though she's not part of that world, it engages her in a way that she doesn't usually get stimulated intellectually anyway. Whether she knows it or not, she's got some kind of emotional connection to Jinshi and he to her. But I'm really excited because that's what I feel like this episode was. Is like we've just crossed this turning point, and this next half of the season is going to really unleash a bit more on us. I think it's going to get more serious. But anyway, guys, I enjoyed those episodes. I hope you enjoyed the reactions. But that's it from me, and I'll see you next time.